choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've just passed the 56-minute mark in our countdown. We're still proceeding in an excellent manner at this time. All elements reporting in that all systems continuing to look good at this point. We're still aiming toward our planned liftoff at the start of the lunar window, 9:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight. A short while ago, in fact, the spacecraft test conductor, Skip Chauvin, informed spacecraft commander Neil Armstrong that we were doing quite well. In fact, some 15 minutes ahead on some aspects of the preparation spacecraft-wise. Armstrong replied that was fine, just as long as we don't launch 15 minutes early, obviously referring to the start of the window. The countdown is still going well. T-minus 55 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. So we were doing quite well. In fact, this is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've passed the 51-minute mark in our countdown. We're now T-minus 50 minutes, 51 seconds and counting. Apollo 11 countdown is still go at this time. All elements reporting ready at this point in the countdown. The spacecraft correctional test supervisor, Bill Thicc, has advised all hands here in the control center and the spacecraft checkout people that in about 30 seconds, that big swing arm that has been attached to the spacecraft up to now will be moved back to a park position some 5 feet away from the spacecraft. We alert the astronauts because there was a little jolt when the swing arm is moved away. It will remain in that position some 5 feet away from the spacecraft until the 5-minute mark on the count when it's completely pulled back to its retracted position. It's coming up now in 5 seconds. The swing arm will come back. Mark. The swing arm now coming back from the spacecraft. Countdown proceeding satisfactorily. We've completed our telemetry checks with the launch vehicle, and at this point, with the swing arm back, we arm the pyrotechnics so that an escape tower atop the astronauts, atop their spacecraft, could be used if a catastrophic condition was going to occur under them with the launch vehicle from this point on down in the countdown. We have the high-speed elevator located at the 320-foot level in the event the astronauts have to get out in a hurry. This is a special precaution. One of the members of the support team for Apollo 11, astronaut Bill Pogue, is here in the firing room. He acts as the capsule communicator during the countdown. His call sign is Stoney. He controls that elevator. He now has it locked at the 320-foot level. These are special precautions for safety purposes during the final phase of the count. Now coming up on the 49-minute mark in the countdown, this is Kennedy Launch Control. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've passed the 46-minute mark in our countdown. T-minus 45 minutes, 52 seconds and counting. All elements still go in the countdown at this time. The hard work on the spacecraft at this point in the countdown, astronaut Buzz Aldrin in the middle seat. He's been working with the spacecraft test conductor on setting up proper switch settings in preparation for pressurizing the reaction control system. These are these big thrusters on the side of the service module. There's actually 16 of them in 4 quadrants around the service module. They are used for maneuvers in space. We pressurize that system before liftoff. That particular operation will be coming up in some 5 minutes or so. In preparation for it, Buzz Aldrin, who has most of the switches in front of him, has been preparing for that particular event. The launch vehicle people keeping an eye on the status of the various propellants aboard the Saturn V launch vehicle. Just at liftoff, we will have a vehicle weighing close to 6.5 million pounds on the launch pad. There's more than 1 million gallons of propellants aboard the 3 stages of the Saturn V. The reports here in the control center are the propellants are stable. We did take a look a little while ago at the RP1, the high-grade kerosene fuel that's used in the first stage of the Saturn V to make sure it was at its proper level. We keep an eye on these various aspects throughout the count and use the aid of computers to keep an overall look on general status. We're now at T-minus 44 minutes, 21 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. The RP-1, the high-grade kerosene fuel that's used in the first stage of the Saturn V to make. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We passed the 41-minute mark in our count. T-minus 40 minutes, 53 seconds and counting. We are continuing, and we're continuing very excellently at this time. There are no problems that have been reported in as the countdown continues to click down. We're still aiming for the start of our window on this, the first flight to land men on the moon. We're aiming toward our planned liftoff time of 9:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Coming up shortly will be a key test here in the firing room as far as the launch vehicle people are concerned. It's some final checks of the destruct system aboard the three stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle. In the event during powered flight that the vehicle strayed rather violently off course, the range safety officer could take action to destroy the vehicle. This obviously would occur after the astronauts were separated by their escape tower from the faulty vehicle. We make a check of the destruct system to assure that if a signal is required to get through, that in fact it will. This is what is coming up here in the control center at this time. All aspects of the mission still go. We're at T-minus 39 minutes, 47 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. Check of the destruct system to assure that if a signal is required to get through, that in fact it will. This is what is coming up here in the control center at this time. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're past the 36-minute mark in our countdown. T-minus 35 minutes, 48 seconds and counting. We've completed those range safety command checks, all still going well with the countdown. A short while ago, spacecraft test conductor Skip Chauvin asked Neil Armstrong if the crew was comfortable up there. And Neil reported back. He said, we're very comfortable. It's very nice this morning. For a status report, we'll now switch to Mission Control, Houston.
This is Apollo Mission Control. Flight Director Cliff Charlesworth's team is on station here in the Mission Operations Control Room, ready to assume the control of this flight at tower clearance. There is a possibility that Apollo 11 will check out the command module color TV camera during the first Earth revolution while in contact with the Goldstone station. If this checkout does occur, we acquire Goldstone at 1 hour and 29 minutes elapsed time. We have loss of signal at 1 hour, 33 minutes, 50 seconds elapsed time. This TV camera checkout is a possibility. This is Mission Control, Houston. While in contact with the Goldstone station. If this checkout does occur, we acquire Goldstone at 1 hour and 29 minutes.
This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've just passed the 31-minute mark in our count. T-minus 30 minutes, 52 seconds and counting. Aiming toward our planned liftoff time of 32 minutes past the hour. The start of our launch window on this mission to land men on the moon. The countdown is still proceeding very satisfactorily at this time. We've just got by on important tests with the launch vehicle, checking out the various batteries in the three stages and instrument unit of the Saturn V. We remain on external power through most of the count to preserve those batteries which must be used during the powered flight. We've just taken a look at them by going internal and then switching back to external again. The batteries all look good. The next time we go internal will be at the 52nd mark of those batteries, and they will remain, of course, on internal power during the flight. The Lunar module, which has been rather inactive during these latter phases of the count, also is going on internal power at this time on the 2 batteries in the ascent stage and the 4 batteries at the descent stage. For the next 20 minutes, we'll take a look at some systems in the Lunar module, then power down at about the 10-minute mark in the count, power down the telemetry to preserve the power of the LEM. The lunar module on Apollo 11, of course, when it separates from the command module in lunar orbit, will have the call sign Eagle. The command module call sign, once the 2 vehicles separate, will be Columbia. Both Columbia and Eagle are go at this time at 29 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. to preserve the power of the lamp. The lunar module on Apollo 11, of course, when it separates from the command module in lunar orbit, we'll have the call sign Eagle. The command module call sign, once the two vehicles separate, will be Columbia. Both Columbia and Eagle are go at this time at 29 minutes, 24 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control to preserve the power of the lamp. The lunar module on Apollo 11, of course, when it separates from the command module in lunar orbit, we'll have the call sign Eagle. The command module call sign, once the two vehicles separate, will be Columbia. Both Columbia and Eagle are go at this time at 29 minutes, 24 seconds, and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control to preserve the power of the lamp. The lunar module on Apollo 11, of course, when it separates from the command module in lunar orbit, we'll have the call sign Eagle. The command module call sign, once the two vehicles separate, will be Columbia. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We've just passed the 26-minute mark in the count. T-minus 25 minutes, 53 seconds and counting. Still proceeding very satisfactorily. At this time, spacecraft test conductor Skip Chauvin working with astronaut Buzz Aldrin in the middle seat, covering the final pressurization of the reaction control system for the spacecraft. These are those big thrusters on the side of the service module that are used for maneuvers in space. Each one of these thrusters is capable of 100 pounds of thrust. There are 16 of them located in 4 quadrants around the service module. We pressurized the system with helium prior to launch to make sure that all will be in readiness for use in space. The countdown still proceeding satisfactorily. It picked up at the T-minus 9-hour mark at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight last evening. We've just had 2 comparatively minor problems since that time. The major portion of the countdown during the early morning hours, some 5 hours of work was taken to load the various propellants aboard the stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle. As we came into the count this morning, we did already have the fuel aboard the first stage, but it was necessary to bring the liquid oxygen aboard all 3 stages and the liquid hydrogen fuel aboard the second and third stages. Close to 750,000 gallons of propellants were loaded during these 5 hours. Following that, the astronauts, the prime crew, were awakened at 4:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight as planned in their countdown and proceeded to have a physical examination in which they were declared flight ready. They sat down for the normal astronaut fare on launch day. As far as breakfast is concerned, orange juice, steak, scrambled eggs, toast, and coffee. The 3 pilots were joined by 2 of their colleagues at breakfast, Director of Flight Crew Operations Steve Slayton, and the backup command module pilot, Bill Anders, who has been named the Executive Secretary of the National Aeronautics and Space Council. The astronauts departed from their crew quarters after checking out their suits. They departed from the crew quarters at 6:27 a.m. and some 27 minutes later, 8 miles away from the crew quarters at the Kennedy Space Center, atop the launch pad at Complex 39, 6:54 a.m., the commander, astronaut Neil Armstrong, was the first to board the spacecraft. He was followed about 5 minutes later by Mike Collins, and finally Buzz Aldrin, the man who was sitting in the middle seat during liftoff, was the 3rd astronaut to come aboard. 2 minor problems have been encountered during the count. Early in the count, a malfunction light came on here in the control center, indicating that we might have a communication problem at the launch pad. Nothing to do with the spacecraft, but it indicated we possibly might not be able to talk to some key technicians we had at the pad. The problem turned out to be very minor. A simple adjustment of some equipment beneath the pad remedied the problem. There was in fact, no equipment problem involved. The second problem, we did encounter a leaky valve in part of the equipment that's used to replenish the hydrogen fuel supply on the third stage of the Saturn V launch vehicle. A team of technicians were sent out to the launch pad at about the time the astronauts were traveling to the pad. They tightened some bolts, and we were able to bypass this valve and proceed with our countdown. The weather is certainly go. It's a beautiful morning for a launch to the moon. We expect a temperature of about 85 degrees in the Kennedy Space Center area. The wind's about 10 knots rather, from the southeast. And the weather conditions and the round-the-world track, according to reports from the Manned Spaceflight Meteorology Group, indicate all weather conditions are acceptable for launch. That's our general status. We've just passed the 22-minute mark in the count, 21 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. 10 knots rather, from the southeast. And the weather conditions and the round-the-world track, according to reports from the Manned Spaceflight Meteorology Group, indicate all weather conditions are acceptable for launch. That's our general status. We've just passed the 22-minute mark in the count, 21 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. 10 knots rather, from the southeast. And the weather conditions and the round-the-world track, according to reports from the Manned Spaceflight Meteorology Group, indicate all weather conditions are acceptable for launch. That's our general status. We've just passed the 22-minute mark in the count, 21 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. 10 knots rather, from the southeast. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We're now less than 16 minutes away from the planned liftoff of the Apollo 11 space vehicle. All still going well with the countdown at this time. The astronauts aboard the spacecraft have had a little chance to rest over the last few minutes or so. At least they haven't been busy with procedures with the spacecraft test conductor. In the meantime, we have been performing final checks on the tracking beacons and the instrument unit, which is used as the guidance system during the powered phase of flight. Once we get down to the 3-minute and 10-second mark in the countdown, we'll go on an automatic sequence. As far as the launch vehicle is concerned, all aspects from there on down will be automatic, run by the ground master computer here in the firing room. This will lead up to the 8.9-minute mark in the countdown, when the ignition sequence will begin in those 5 engines of the first stage, the S1C stage of the Saturn V. At the 2-second mark, we'll get information and a signal that all engines are running, and at the 0 mark in the countdown, once we get the commit signal, the signal that says that the thrust is proper and acceptable, we then will get a commit and lift off as the hold-down arms release the vehicle. We have some 7.6 million pounds of thrust pushing the vehicle upward. The vehicle weighs close to 6.5 million pounds. We're now 14 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. The thrust is proper and acceptable. We then will get a commit and lift off as the hold-down arms release the vehicle. We have some 7.6 million pounds of thrust pushing the vehicle upward. The vehicle weighs close to 6.5 million pounds. We're now 14 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. The thrust is proper and acceptable. We then will get a commit and lift off as the hold-down arms release the vehicle. We have some 7.6 million pounds of thrust pushing the vehicle upward. The vehicle weighs close to 6.5 million pounds. We're now 14 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. This is Kennedy Launch Control. The thrust is proper and acceptable. We then will get a commit and lift off as the hold-down arms release the vehicle. We have some 7.6 million pounds of thrust pushing the vehicle upward. The vehicle weighs close to 6.5 million pounds. We're now 14 minutes, 30 seconds. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We passed the 11-minute mark. Now T-minus 10 minutes, 54 seconds on our countdown for Apollo 11. All still go at this time. The astronauts in the spacecraft busy again. The commander, Neil Armstrong, has performed some final switch settings for the stabilization and control system of the spacecraft. The spacecraft also now is on full internal power. This came shortly after the 15-minute mark. The spacecraft now on the full power of its fuel cells. Up to this time, it had been sharing the load with an external power source. Both Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin have armed their rotational hand controllers, the controllers they use in flight, and we have now gone to automatic system with the emergency detection system, that system that would cue the astronauts if there's trouble down below with the Saturn V rocket during the powered flight. We're now coming up on the 10-minute mark, 10 minutes away from our planned liftoff. Mark, T-minus 10 minutes and counting, T-minus 10. We're aiming for our planned liftoff at 32 minutes past the hour. This is Kennedy Launch Control. Detection system, that system that would cue the astronauts if there's trouble down below with the Saturn V rocket during the powered flight. We're now coming up on the 10-minute mark, 10 minutes away from our planned liftoff. Mark, T-minus 10 minutes and counting, T-minus 10. We're aiming for our planned liftoff at 32 minutes past the hour. This is Kennedy Launch Control. Detection system, that system that would cue the astronauts if there's trouble down below with the Saturn V rocket during the powered flight. We're now coming up on the 10-minute mark. This is Apollo Saturn Launch Control. We passed the 6-minute mark in our countdown for Apollo 11. Now 5 minutes, 52 seconds and counting. We're on time at the present time for our planned liftoff of 32 minutes past the hour. Spacecraft test conductor Skip Chauvin now has completed the status check of his personnel in the control room. All report they are go for the mission, and this has been reported to the test supervisor, Bill Schitt. The 6-minute mark in our countdown. Test supervisor now going through some status checks. 2 seconds and counting. Launch operations manager Paul Donnelly reports go for launch. Launch director Rocco Petrone now gives a go with 5 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. Coming up shortly, that swing arm up at the spacecraft level will come back to its fully retracted position. This should occur at the 5-minute mark in the count. In the meantime, the lunar module telemetry has been powered down. We took a good look at Eagle, and it looks good. The spacecraft test conductor for the lunar module reported that Eagle was go. The swing arm now coming back to its fully retracted position as our countdown continues. T-minus 4 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. Skip Chauvin informing the astronauts that the swing arm now coming back. The astronauts will have a few more reports coming up in the countdown. The last business report will be from Neil Armstrong at the 45-second mark in the count when he gives a status on the final alignment of the stabilization and control system. We're now passing the 4-minute, 30-second mark in the countdown. Still go at this time. That the swing arm now coming back. The astronauts will have a few more reports coming up in the countdown. 4 minutes, 15 seconds. The test supervisor now has informed launch vehicle test conductor Norm Carlson you are go for launch. From this time down, Carlson handles the countdown as the launch vehicle begins to build up. We're now hitting the 4-minute mark. 4 minutes and counting. We are go for Apollo 11. We'll go on an automatic sequence starting at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. The test supervisor now has informed launch vehicle test conductor Norm Carlson you are go for launch. From 3 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. And the final abort checks between several key members of the crew here in the control center and the astronauts. Launch operations manager Paul Donnelly wished the crew on the launch team's behalf good luck and Godspeed. 7 seconds. 3 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. We're still go at this time. We'll be coming up in the automatic sequence about 10 or 15 seconds from this time. All still go at this time. Neil Armstrong reported back when he received the good wishes. Thank you very much. We know it will be a good flight. Firing command coming in now. We are on the automatic sequence. We're approaching the 3-minute mark in the count. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. T-minus 3. We are go with all elements of the mission at this time. We're on an automatic sequence as the master computer supervises hundreds of events occurring over these last few minutes. T-minus T-minus 2 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. The members of the launch team here in the control center are monitoring a number of what we call red line values. These are tolerances we don't want to go above and below in temperatures and pressures. We're standing by to call out any deviations from our plan. 2 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. We're still go on Apollo 11 at this time. Vehicle starting to pressurize. We're going to launch the control center. All is still go. Remember our status for it. Tolerances we don't want to go above and below. 2 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Try to call out any deviations from our plan. The target for the Apollo 11 astronauts, the moon, at liftoff will be at a distance of 218,096 miles away. Just past the 2 minute mark on the countdown. T-minus 1 minute, 54 seconds and counting. Our status board indicates that the oxidizer tanks in the second and third stages now have pressurized. We've continued to build up pressure in all three stages here at the last minute to prepare it for liftoff. We'll be at a distance of 218,000. T-minus 1 minute, 35 seconds on the Apollo mission. Flight to land, first men on the moon. All indications coming in to the control center at this time indicate we are to go. 1 minute, 25 seconds and counting. Our status board indicates the third stage completely pressurized. 80-second mark has now been passed. We'll go on full internal power at the 50-second mark in the countdown. Guidance system goes on internal at 17 seconds, leading up to the ignition sequence at 8.9 seconds. We're approaching the 60-second mark on the Apollo 11 mission. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong just reported back. It's been a real smooth countdown. We passed the 50-second mark. Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong just reported back. It's been a real smooth. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. Transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch 20 seconds and counting. 40 seconds away. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12. Tower cleared. 10.
We got a roll program. Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past
Plus 30 seconds.
Liftoff on Apollo 11. 15 seconds.
Roll complete and a pitch is programmed.
Tower cleared.
We got a roll program. Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading. 1 Bravo. 1 Bravo is a abort control mode. Plus 30 seconds. Altitude's 2 miles. Roll complete and a pitch is programmed. Apollo 11 Houston, you're good at 1 minute. 1 Bravo. Downrange 1 mile, altitude 3, 4 miles now. Control mode. Velocity 2,195 feet per second. Altitude's 2 miles.
Start model pressure red line is lit. I don't know where. Yeah, it don't make a difference. No difference. Okay, let's punch him out. Everything just go, Ralph.
Downrange 1 mile, altitude 3, 4. We're through the region of maximum dynamic pressure now.
Yeah, everything looks good here.
195 feet per second.
We're at 1350 on the start bottle.
Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second.
Stand by for mode 1, Charlie. Hard, mode 1, Charlie.
We're through the region of maximum dynamic pressure now. Cliff Charlesworth taking the staging status.
Houston, you are go for staging.
We're at 1350 on the start bottle.
Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 4,000 feet per second.
Inboard cutoff. For mode 1 Charlie.
Inboard engines out.
I'm inboard cutoff. Hard. Mode 1 Charlie.
Cliff Charles, we're taking the staging status.
Houston, you are go for staging.
Downrange 35 miles, 30 miles high. Standing by for the outboard engine cut down now. 4,000 feet per second.
Inboard cutoff. For mode 1 Charlie.
Inboard engines out.
I'm inboard cutoff. Staging. And ignition.
Cliff Charles, we're taking the staging status.
Houston, you are go for staging.
S4B is
Downrange
11 Houston, thrust is go. All engines, you're looking good.
By for the outboard engine cut down.
Roger, you're loud and clear, Houston.
At 3 minutes, downrange 70 miles, 43 miles high, velocity 9,300 feet per second.
And ignition.
S4B is downrange.
11 Houston, thrust is go. All engines, you're looking good. Roger, you're loud and clear, Houston.
At 3 minutes, downrange 70 miles, 43 miles high, velocity 9,300 feet per second.
And ignition.
S4B is downrange.
11 Houston, thrust is go. All engines, you're looking good. Roger, you're loud and clear, Houston.
At 3 minutes, downrange 70 miles, 43 miles high, velocity 9,300 feet per second.
And ignition.
What? What was that, man? What the hell was that? Huh? No, man, hey, man, wow, I was watching this object, man, like the satellite that we saw the other night, right? And like it was just going right across the sky, man, and then, I mean, it just suddenly, it just changed direction and went, whizzing right off, man. It flashed.
You're stoned out of your mind, man.
Oh, yeah, man, hey, like, I'm stoned, you know, man? But, like, you know, I saw a satellite. No, man, like, and it was going across the sky. Object, man, like, and it flashed 3 times at me and zigzagged and whizzed off. And I saw it. I mean, it just suddenly,
That was a
just changed direction and
UFO
went,
beaming
whizzing
back
right
at
off,
you.
man. It flashed.
Me and Eric Heisman was down in Mexico 2 weeks ago. We
But,
seen
like, you know,
40
I
of them
saw a
flying in
satellite.
formation. They've got bases all over the world now, you know. They've been coming here ever since 1946, when the scientists first started bouncing radar beams off of the moon. And they have been living and working among us in vast quantities ever since. The government knows all about it. Me and Eric Heisman was down
What are you
in
talking,
2
man?
weeks ago. Well, you just seen one of them, didn't you?
Hey, man, I saw something, man, but I didn't see it working here. You know what I mean?
Coming here ever since 1946. They are people just like us, first started from within our own solar system, except that their society is more highly evolved. I mean, they don't have no wars, they got no monetary system, they don't have any leaders, because I mean each man is a leader. I mean each man, because of their technology, they are able to feed, clothe, house, and transport themselves easily with no effort. Within our own solar system, except that their society is more highly evolved. They don't have no wars, they got no monetary system, they don't have any leaders.
Well, you know something, man?
Each man,
I think, you wanna know what I think? I think this is a crackpot idea. That's what I think. How about that? How about a little of that? I think it's a crackpot idea. I mean, if they're so smart, why don't they just reveal themselves to us, huh, and get it over with?
Why don't they reveal themselves to us is because if they did, it would cause a general panic. Now, I mean, we still have leaders upon whom we rely for the release of this information. These leaders have decided to repress this information because of the tremendous shock that it would cause to our antiquated systems. Now, the result of this has been that the Venusians have contacted people at all walks of life. All walks of life. Yes. Have excited. It would be a devastating blow to our antiquated system. So now Venusians are meeting with people in all walks of life in an advisory capacity. For once, man will have a godlike control over his own destiny. He will have a chance to transcend and to evolve with some equality for all. It would be a devastating blow to our antiquated system. So now Venusians are meeting with people in
How's your joint, George?
walks of life in an advisory capacity. For once, man will have a godlike control. I believe it went out. I got to talking so much I clean forgot about some equality for all. Went out. It would be a devastating blow to our antiquated system. So now Venusians are meeting with people.
How's your joint, George? We'll save it. We'll do it tomorrow morning first thing, right? Gives you a whole new way of looking at the day.
I believe it went out.
Well, I sure could use that. Yes, I sure could use a little of that.
How's your joint, George? We'll save it. We'll do it tomorrow morning first thing, right? Gives you a whole new way of looking at the day.
I believe it went out.
Well, I sure could use that. Yes, I sure could use a little of that.
How's your joint, George? We'll save it. We'll do it tomorrow morning first thing, right? Gives you a whole new way of looking at the day.
Well, I sure could use that. Yes, I sure could use a little of that.
We'll save it. We'll do it tomorrow morning first thing. Gives you a whole new way of looking at the day.
Eagle Houston, if you'd like to try high gain pitch 212, yaw 37, over.
Roger, I think I've got you on high gain now.
Roger. Eagle Houston, if you'd like to try high gain pitch
Coming up on 1 minute to
yaw
ignition.
37, over.
They getting the angles, though? I'll set them in to use them before we yaw around.
Roger. Pitch 212, yaw plus 37. Roger.
Copy.
Eagle Houston, if you'd like to try high gain pitch
Coming up on 1 minute to
yaw
ignition.
37, over.
Firm defense. They getting the angles, though? I'll set them in to use them before we yaw around.
Roger. Pitch 212, yaw plus 37. Roger.
Copy.
Eagle Houston, if you'd like to try high gain pitch
Coming up on
Current altitude about 46,000 feet, continuing to descend.
They getting the angles, though? I'll set them in to use them before we yaw around.
Roger. Pitch 212, yaw plus 37.
Lights on. Copy. 1,
Current
0,
altitude about 46,000 feet,
hitting 10%. Stay with me. Mike.
Say again, Neil.
I'll leave it blue. Relay to us. See if they got me now. I got good signal strength and blue. Lights on.
Okay, you should have him now, Houston.
Eagle, we got you now. It's looking good, over.
1, 0,
about 46,000 feet.
hitting 10%. Hey,
Eagle.
see that looking good?
Eagle Houston, everything's looking good here, over.
Roger, copy. I'll leave it blue. Relay to us. See if they got
Eagle
me now.
Houston,
I got
after
good
yaw
signal
around,
strength.
angle, S-band pitch, -9, yaw plus 18. Eagle, we got you now. It's looking good, over.
1, 0, hitting 10%. Copy.
Eagle.
See that looking good?
Eagle Houston, everything's looking good here, over.
Roger, copy. I'll leave it blue. Relay to us. See if they got
Eagle
me now.
Houston,
I got
after
good
yaw
signal
around,
strength.
angle,
All right, staying with the green very closely.
-9, yaw plus
Roger.
18. Eagle, we got you now. It's looking good, over.
1, 0, hitting 10%. Copy.
Eagle.
See that looking good?
Eagle Houston, everything's looking good here, over.
Clear bait on. Altitude's a little high.
Eagle Houston, after yaw around, angle,
All right, staying with the green very closely.
yaw plus
2 minutes, 20 seconds, everything looking good. We show altitude about 47,000 feet.
Copy.
Eagle Houston, everything's looking good here, over.
Houston, I'm getting a little fluctuation in the AC voltage now.
Roger.
50 meter maybe, huh?
Stand by. It's looking good to us. You're still looking good. It's coming up 3 minutes.
About 47,000
City
feet.
deep. Looks real good. Hold it. Right on. Our position check downrange to us to be a little off. Houston,
Roger, copy.
fluctuation in the AC voltage now. I think it's going to drop.
Roger.
50
Eagle Houston, you're a go to continue on.
4 minutes.
You're still looking good. You're a go you go to continue power descent. You're a go to continue power descent.
Right on. Roger.
Altitude 40,000.
And Eagle Houston, we got data dropout. You're still looking good.
I think it's going to drop.
Roger.
Okay, we got good lock on.
Eagle Houston, you're a go to continue on.
Altitude lights out.
You're a go to continue power descent. You're a
LA
go to
is
continue
minus
power descent.
2,900.
Roger, we copy.
That's the Earth, right out our front window.
And Eagle Houston, we got data dropout.
Houston, you're looking at our Delta H.
That's affirmative.
Program alarm. Okay, we got
Looking good to us, over.
It's a 1202. 1202.
Good radar data. Altitude now 33,500 feet.
Roger, we copy.
That's right out our front window.
Houston, we got data drop.
Houston, you're looking at our Delta 8. Give us a reading on the 1202 program alarm.
Good to us, over. Roger, we got you. We're going at alarm.
Roger, 330.
6 plus 25, throttle down. 6 plus 25, throttle down.
Roger, copy. 6 plus 25.
We're still go, altitude 27,000 feet.
Same alarm, and it appears to come up when we have a 1668 up.
Roger, copy.
Roger, 330.
Eagle, Houston, we'll monitor your Delta 8.
Beautiful.
Delta 8 is looking good now. Roger, Delta 8 is looking good to us.
We're still go, altitude 27,000 feet.
Same alarm, and it
Roger,
appears
copy,
to
throttle down.
throttle down. 68 up. Better in the simulator.
Copy. Roger. Eagle, Houston, we'll monitor your Delta 8.
Right, and things look real close.
Delta 8 is looking good now. Roger, Delta 8 is looking good to us.
Altitude now 21,000 feet, still looking very good.
Better in the simulator.
Velocity down now to 1,200 feet per second.
You're looking great to us, Eagle.
Right, things look real close. Okay, I'm still on flu, so we may tend to lose as we gradually pitch over. Let me try auto again now, see what happens.
Roger.
Feet, still looking very good.
Okay, looks like it's hold.
Roger, we got good data.
Velocity down now to 1,200 feet per
You're
second.
looking great to us, Eagle.
7 minutes, 30 seconds into the burn.
Okay, I'm still on flu.
Altitude 16,300 feet.
As we gradually pitch over. Let me try auto again now, see what happens.
Roger.
Okay, looks like it's hold.
Roger, we got good data. Eagle, Houston, it's descent to fuel to monitor, over.
Altitude.
7 minutes, 30 seconds. Altitude 13,005. Altitude, velocity 9,100 feet per second.
Made it switch over time, please, Houston.
Roger, stand by. You're looking great at 8 minutes.
Correction on that velocity, now reading 760 feet per second.
It's the P-64.
Good. Roger. Altitude.
Altitude 13,005. Altitude, velocity 9,100 feet per second.
Made it
Fido says we're go, altitude 9,200 feet.
8:30, you're looking great.
Correction on that velocity, now reading 700. Descent rate 129 feet per second.
We copy.
Roger.
Altitude 13,005. Altitude, velocity 9,100 feet per second. Fido says we're go, altitude 9,200 feet.
Eagle, you're looking great. Coming up 9 minutes.
We're now in the approach phase, everything looking good. Descent rate 129 feet per second. Altitude 5,200 feet.
Roger. Manual attitude control is good.
Roger, copy.
Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
9,200 feet.
Eagle, you're looking great. Coming up 9 minutes.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000
Now in
feet.
the approach phase,
Copy.
everything looking good. Descent rate 129 feet per second.
1201.
Altitude 5,200 feet.
1201.
Roger, 1201 alarm. We're go. Same tight. We're go. Roger, copy.
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet.
42.
Into the ag. 47 degrees.
Roger.
37 degrees.
You're looking great. Coming up 9 minutes.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet.
Eagle looking great. You're go.
1201.
Altitude 1,600.
Alarm. We're go. Same tight. We're go.
1,400 feet, still looking very good.
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees.
Roger, 1202. We copy
37
it.
degrees. 35 degrees. 35 degrees. 750. Coming down to 23. 700 feet, 21 down. 33 degrees.
Altitude 1,600.
100 feet down to 19.
1,400 feet, still
540 feet down to 30. Down to 15.
Roger, 1202. We copy it.
35 degrees. 35 degrees. That's 400 feet down to 9. Coming down to 23. Gate forward, 700 feet, 21 down, 33 degrees. 1050 feet down at 4. 100 feet down at 30, 3.5 down. 1400 feet, 540 feet down at 30, at a 15. They're tagged on horizontal velocity. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. Put up. 1.5 down. 1050 feet down at 4. 70. 30, 3.5 down. 540 feet down at 30. At a 15. Happy shadow out there. 50 down at 2.5. 300 feet down. 19 forward. 47 forward. Altitude velocity light. 1.5 down. 220 feet. 15 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely, 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. Happy shadow out there. 50 down at 260 feet. 6.5 down. 5.5 down. 9 forward. Altitude velocity light. 1.5 down. 120 feet. 15 forward. 100 feet. 3.5 down. 9 forward. 4.5 down. 5%. 185. 75 feet. That's looking good. Down a half. 9 forward. 6 forward. 60 seconds. 20 feet. Lights on. 6. Down 2.5. 3.5 down. 9 forward. 5 forward. Forward. 185. That's 40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward, drifting to the right a little. Down a half. Down 2.5. 30 seconds. Forward. Good. 8 forward. Forward. Contact light. Good. Okay, engine stop. APA at a descent. Mode control, both auto, diesel engine command override off. Engine arm off. 4 forward. 413 is in. 4 forward, drifting to the right.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Engine arm off. 413 is in. Thank you.
You're looking good here. We copy you down, Eagle.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're looking good here. We copy you down, Eagle.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're looking good here. We copy you down, Eagle.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys
Okay, everything's nice and straight in here. Okay, can you pull the door open a little more? Right. Did you get the main down? I'm going to pull it now. Houston, the Mesa came down. All right, nice and straight in here.
Houston, Roger, we copy, and we're standing by for your TV.
Did you get the main down? I'm going to pull it now. Houston, this is Neil, radio check. Houston, the
Neil, this is Houston, loud and clear. Break, Buzz, this is Houston, radio check and verified TV circuit breaker in.
Roger, TV circuit breakers in. And base 5 clear.
Roger. And we're getting a picture on the TV. Houston, loud and clear. Break,
You got a good picture, huh?
there's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can make out a fair amount of detail.
Circuit breakers in. And base 5 clear.
Roger. And we're getting a
Okay, we can verify the position, the opening I ought to have on the camera. You got a good picture, huh?
There's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can make out a fair amount of detail.
Circuit breakers in. And base 5 clear.
Roger. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Okay, we can verify the position, the opening I ought to have on the camera. You got a good picture, huh? Okay, I just checked, getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up.
Roger, we copy.
It's a pretty good little jump.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Okay, we can verify the position, the opening I ought to have on the camera. Okay, I just checked, getting back up
Buzz,
to
this
that
is
first
Houston,
step.
F2, 1/160th second for shadow photography on the sequence camera.
Get back up.
Roger, we copy.
It's a pretty good little jump. Okay.
See you coming down the ladder.
At the foot of the ladder, the limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very fine grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. At the foot of the ladder, the limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface... I'm going to step off the limb now. Very fine grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. That's one small step for man. The limb footbeds are only one giant leap for mankind. 1 or 2 inches, although the surface... I'm going to step off the limb now. Very fine grained as you... Okay, I'm on the top step, and I can look down over the RCU and landing gear pad. One small step for man. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next. Yes, I found it to be very comfortable, and walking is also very comfortable. Okay, I'm on the top step. You're on. You've got 3 more steps and then a long one. Landing gear pad. One small step for man. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next. Yes, I found it to be very comfortable. Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 foot up there. And it's also very comfortable. Both hands down about the 4th rung up. Okay. There you go. You're on. You've got 3 more steps and then a long one. Okay, now I think I'll do the same. Gear pad. One small step for man. That's a very simple matter. A little more. About another inch. There you got it. Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 That's a good step. Yeah. About a 3-footer. Down about the 4th rung up.
There you go. You're on. You've got 3 more steps and then a beautiful view. Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here. Magnificent desolation. Got another inch. There you got it. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one. That's a good step. Yeah. About a 3-footer. Down about the 4th rung up. There you go. You're on. You've got 3 more steps and then a beautiful view. Magnificent desolation. Magnificent desolation. Magnificent desolation. Magnificent desolation. Got another inch. There you got it. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one. Bill is now unveiling the plaque. About a 3-footer. Down about the 4th rung up.
Roger, we got you 4-sided, but back to 1 side.
Magnificent desolation. Magnificent desolation. Magnificent desolation. Magnificent desolation. Got another inch. For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's 2 hemispheres, one showing each of the 2 hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. It came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew member signatures and the signature of the President of the United States. Underneath it says, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. It came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew member signatures and the signature of the President of the United States. Underneath it says,